Everybody to our weekly volunteer opportunities and update meeting for Northern Nevada Disaster Cycle Services. This meeting is being recorded, so please know that and be aware. I'm bear.lewis hosting today. I'm the Disaster Program Manager in Northern Nevada and your contact and liaison for all things disaster cycle services in Red Cross in Northern Nevada. So as always, my contact information is available on the agenda here. Please utilize it to call, text, or email, and I will respond as quickly as possible. That being said, I'm a little bit behind on my correspondence. So if you sent me an email and you have not received a reply right away, or you've anticipated a reply and you have not received it yet, please reach out to me again. I am going through some old emails that I lost track of when I was out of town for a week. So I believe I've touched base with everyone, but if for some reason you're waiting to hear from me, please reach out to me again because I may have inadvertently missed it, and I'm very sorry about that. Is there anyone in the meeting today that has happened to, that you're waiting on me for anything? Okay, awesome. That makes me feel a little bit better. Some important information for us to share this week. First, can everyone see my screen? And can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we are at the 21st of November, and we've had 3 disaster action team responses this month, none of which have been in Reno or Washoe, which is unbelievable because typically that's where we get most of our calls. So November is starting off kind of like the last couple of months. I'm not going to use the S word or the Q word, but we are still expecting to see an uptick as the winter gets, as we get into winter and the temperatures start dropping. But so far, they've been pretty limited. We've responded 3 times, 2 times in Carson City, 1 time in Lyon County, opened 3 cases, and been able to give $1,865 to support 9 people who were impacted by disasters. 4 responders have gone out. Mike Algeier and Chris Butson, thank you so much. You both have gone out twice this month. And Jean Larson and Rick Yatuma also went out. So thank you guys very much for responding to those calls. Rick and Jean, thank you for making the hike out there because I know it was a journey for the call you responded to. Does anyone have any questions about the DAT calls we responded to this month? Okay. Jim Rich had his disaster action team meeting last night, so you guys may already be aware, if you were able to attend, that starting December 1st, there are going to be 6-hour shift and 12-hour shift opportunities available to sign up for, just for the Reno Washoe response area. So if you're a DAT responder in the Reno Washoe area and you would like to sign up for 6-hour shifts, those are available. If you still want to sign up for 12-hour shifts, those are also available. Another alternative is to use this online survey that you can see right here. And it will allow you to sign up for 6-hour shifts regardless of where your response area is. So any questions about the different ways you can sign up for disaster action team shifts? Okay. As always, that's included in the agenda is the link to the 2024 fiscal year disaster action team responses. So if you're curious, click on that link and you'll see all the calls we've responded to since July 1st, which is when our fiscal year starts. Here's the 3 that we just had in November. So that's always available for you guys to check out at any time. This month, and this is as of 11/13, so there may have been some more installations in this past time, or since then, but we've visited 11 homes in November, serving 27 residents and installing 41 smoke detectors. So great work to our home fire campaign team. They are getting super, super busy because our communications team has been putting out a ton of public service messages about our smoke detectors, home fire safety during the holidays, during cooking, all of those good things. And so we've had a ton more requests than we normally do, and they're cranking. So if you have any desire to support our home fire campaign teams, they go out every Wednesday and Friday if there are requests for smoke detector installations. So please let me know if you're interested, and I'll connect you with Kirk Yates, who kind of manages our home fire campaign team. He's our lead. So any questions about our home fire campaign? Okay. Our chapter vehicles, we've had some break-ins, we've had some gas stolen, we've had some different things occur. So we're trying to park all of the chapter vehicles in the back by where we park the IRV and where we have one of our sheltering trailers parked. So if you are an authorized driver and you utilize a chapter vehicle, please, when you bring it back, park it in that back parking area. If there are no spaces available, park it as near the back door as possible. There are some kind of fake looking cameras back there that we believe are deterring people. There's also a lot of traffic for the other businesses that are coming and going. And so hopefully that extra visibility will deter thieves from stealing the fuel and or breaking into the vehicles. Does anyone have any questions about that? The main thing is don't park on the side where the spaces are marked red cross. I know that's really deceiving, but that's where the vehicles have been broken into. So avoid those spots that are marked red cross only.
Sharie, do we have locking gas caps, or are they punching the tank?
They were drilled into the tank of our caravan, which is super dangerous. And also terrible for the environment because, whatever they captured the fuel in was, only so big, and most of the fuel went onto the ground.
Right.
So yeah, they don't lock, and I wish that they would just siphon the gas, but I guess it's easier to drill a hole.
Right.
Stinks.
Wow.
So yeah, but so far they haven't been messed with at all in that back area. So we're just kind of adapting to the situation. And there was, I guess, a pretty big police bust of a bunch of people who were street racers, and they had been stealing gas as well, not too far from the office. So we're kind of hoping that they were the ones who stole the gas, and it won't be a reoccurring issue, but we don't know.
Right.
I can just imagine, though, how expensive it must be to be a street racer with the fuel prices as they are. I drove my friend's truck last week because I dropped him off at the airport, and it has a Hemi in it, which was really fun. I'm glad I didn't get any speeding tickets, but oh my gosh, I have not spent that much in gas in forever, and I will never drive a vehicle that consumes that much gas because it was so bloody expensive. So that being said, if you guys are authorized drivers, DAT calls, anything Red Cross related, use a chapter vehicle if it's convenient and makes sense and will save you some money because gas is too expensive right now. If you do use your personal vehicle, you are eligible to be reimbursed. It's a dreadful rate. It's only like 13.5 cents per mile, but it is something. And the other thing is that it can act as documentation to show how much driving we're asking our volunteers to do. And that could potentially act as leverage to get that rate increased. Unfortunately, it's something that has to happen at the IRS level. So I'm not even certain how that needs to occur, if we need to get a bunch of senators involved, but the reimbursement rate for you guys is dreadful, though I still encourage you to do it. Any questions about our chapter vehicles or vehicle reimbursement? I think someone may have put something in chat. I'll look real quick on my phone. Bear with me a second, you guys. I just want to check the chat. Oh, Mike was thinking about street racing his 2008 Subaru, but he might rethink that. Yeah, you may want to rethink that also, Mike, because I don't think your Subaru is going to be very competitive unless you really soup it up.
Sounds like it's too rough of a crowd to me.
It might be. I have not met them myself, but it definitely could be a rough crowd. All right. So let's get back to our agenda, everyone. Some things that have happened since our last meeting. So huge thank you to Bruce Berwager and Jim Rich, who visited 3 shelter sites in Fallon, which is one of our due communities. So those agreements are in place. We've identified what needs to be brought in to make those shelters completely usable for all individuals, especially those with access and functional needs. So great work to those individuals. We're hoping to get out to the reservation that is in that area to do an assessment of the facility that they would like to use as a shelter. And then we're also working with Washoe County right now to determine what other shelter locations outside of schools they've assessed, and the Reno Sparks Convention Center. We know that's in the mix, but what other locations they have on their radar. And we also want to reach out to faith-based communities throughout our chapter area, but specifically focus initially in our North Valleys area. What faith-based communities are out there that might be able to support us if a shelter was needed, or a resource center, or family assistance center, or any type of facility we may use during a response. So great work to those gentlemen. More to come. I think our goal is to try and get 3 done a month. It's a pretty lofty goal, but if you're interested in supporting our sheltering team in those efforts, please reach out and let me know. The other thing that happened on the 15th was reunification training. And so participants, they were able to take 2 classes, and it was a last-minute training that was put together specifically in case support was needed during the Formula One festivities that occurred Thursday to Saturday of last week. Thankfully, Red Cross was not needed for a response for anything that occurred at Formula One, but that race is going to be occurring every year for the next 10 years was their contract. So 9 more of those races to go. So we'll probably have a similar request each year for this type of standby team. Also on the 15th, I was able to attend the Hill Fire After Action Review with Washoe County, which was at the Regional Emergency Operations Center. They're kind of by the Desert Research Institute. And it was a really great opportunity for all of the agencies to come together and discuss how a very small response looked, what could have been done better. Specifically for Red Cross, what we're going to do different is anytime there's an evacuation in Nevada, small, large fire, whatever it might be, we're going to send out 2 teams. Generally, it's usually DAT responders. The first team will just hop in the car and get to the location that's been identified as the spot for people to evacuate as quickly as possible, while the second team gathers supplies and things that may be needed for an evacuation center or a dormitory shelter. Why this came up is because during the Hill Fire, there was a small area of Verdi that was evacuated. And the sheriff's department made the decision on the fly because they were dispatched to go start knocking on people's doors without an identified location for people to evacuate to. So they just started telling people to go to Boomtown. Boomtown ended up working as a safe location, but it took us time, once we got the call, to get our responders and everything together to get to the Boomtown location. When we arrived there, Boomtown did not even know that people were being sent there from the evacuation. So we determined that if we send out an initial team right away as quickly as possible, they can start making those initial contacts with the first responders who are dispatching or who are directing people to go to a location. The actual owners or security of the location of where people are going. And then they can reach back to our responders who are grabbing supplies and anything that might be needed to support those efforts and let them know what is happening, what it looks like. Yes, they're on track with the supplies that they're bringing, or maybe they need some other supplies or no supplies. So the Hill Fire, we ended up talking to about 20 individuals who were in Boomtown. I think we supported around 7. So it was not a huge response, but a ton of great information and learning opportunities came out for all of the different agencies. Does anyone have any questions about that? Does anyone have any interest in attending an after action review or anything like that in the future? Okay. For anyone watching the video, if you do, reach out to me and let me know. Or if any of you at this meeting change your mind and decide, oh, that might be cool to check out, let me know. It's a pretty cool experience to hear from all the different agencies and how things went. Some upcoming events and opportunities. This should have been deleted. I'm so sorry because that is not upcoming. And actually, for some reason, some of my changes did not save. So please forgive me, you guys. All of these things already occurred and should have been moved up. We talked about Formula One. We did have a really awesome partner meeting on Friday in the Reno office with Emergency Eviction Prevention Program of Nevada. They go by a different name. I want to say I'm not even going to guess the name of it, but they're going to be added to our disaster action team resource list. And they are amazing partners in supporting anyone who's been displaced from their home, no matter what the reason. They are also an amazing resource really for any individuals who have a need we're not able to satisfy. Farah, who runs the organization, she's just a really active go-getter, knows a lot of people throughout the community, knows a lot of people actually throughout Nevada, and is willing to just have whatever conversations are needed to make a difference. So I look forward to future collaboration with them, but right away they're going to start supporting our disaster action team clients and those who may not be eligible for our services when they have been displaced from their home. Anyone have any questions about that meeting? Or are there any attendees like Chico, Randy, or Jim who want to add to what I just mentioned? Okay. We also had on the 20th a disability integration team regional meeting, a regional mass care meeting, which we talked a tiny bit about before the meeting started. And we had our disaster action team meeting for Northern Nevada that Jim Rich hosted. I don't have much feedback about the disability integration team regional meeting. Was anyone on the line able to attend? And do you have any feedback to share with us? Okay. We did have quite a few people attend the regional mass care meeting where we covered shelter use agreements, shelter facility assessments, and feeding agreements. So it's a really top focus, I want to say, for the region to identify those shelters, get those assessments done, and then identify those feeding partners like I was talking about earlier. Barry offered to help support the connecting with feeding partners. If you're interested in reaching out to feeding partners in your community or throughout Northern Nevada who may want to support during a disaster, either by donating food or giving us a really large discount on food or connecting us with other individuals who may be able to support the feeding efforts by bringing in multiple collaborators, please let me know. Because the more feeding partners we have out there, the more money we might be able to put back into the pockets of local businesses if we are able to pay for food and utilize locally owned operations, as well as just let the locals know that we support them and we support their community. So please let me know if you have any interest in supporting with that. It can be extremely rewarding. Any other feedback that anyone would like to share about the Utah Nevada Regional Mass Care meeting they attended? Okay. Anyone want to share any feedback about the disaster action team meeting? I covered the shifts and a couple of things, but was there anything else mentioned that may be worthy for the rest of the team to hear? Okay.
Well, the one thing Jim did say, he wants people signing up for shifts.
Okay.
If you're available, sign up. And I got to admit, I have not been good about that. I think I signed up for one. I just figured they'd call me if there was something down this way in Douglas.
Well,
But,
and we will. Well, what we will do first is just send out that communication via text to everyone, and then see who responds first.
Right.
If no one responds to the text, then we start calling people. But it's always useful for the duty officer if there's someone already on the schedule,
Right.
with the understanding that we have very few disaster action team calls in our areas. So the primary schedule we're really just trying to keep full is the Reno Washoe one. If you sign up for shifts in other areas, that's fantastic. And we really appreciate it, but we're really trying to focus on the Washoe Reno schedule, even though we haven't had any calls in Reno Washoe yet this month. So you just never know. So
Right.
please, and thank you for bringing that up, Barry. So yeah, please sign up for shifts if you're able to do so. And reach out to Jim Rich if you have any questions about the schedule or different opportunities. Most times, if you're going to be available for, let's say, 5 of those 6 hours, go ahead and sign up for the shift. If you're not available for 1 hour of the 6 hours, we'll find other responders. But at least we know that you're available for that bulk period of time. Any other questions or things we should bring up from the disaster action team meeting? Okay, well, now it's time to talk about our upcoming events and opportunities. So this Saturday, following Thanksgiving at 10:30 a.m., ARES, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services, are conducting an exercise. They're going to be staged on Lancer Drive near McQueen High School. Jim Rich is attending. I added his phone number and his email. If you would like to attend and check it out, it might be a cool opportunity to see how we're going to communicate during a disaster when our cell towers are not working and we don't have limited power. These are the old school radio systems that ping off all the towers in the hills and mountains. And these ARES is the team of guys who do that for us. So we might have an ARES individual at a shelter with us, communicating with the Emergency Operations Center via radio if we have needs and we're not able to communicate via internet or telephone. So if you're interested, please reach out to Jim Rich. It starts at 10:30. He'd probably meet up with you. My guess is around 10 o'clock at the office if you wanted to carpool together in a chapter vehicle. Any questions about that? Okay. A week from today, we are having our volunteer opportunities and updates meeting in person at the Winnemucca office. It's at 612 Melarkey Street in Winnemucca. We are going to be carpooling from the Reno office. I don't know the exact time yet. It kind of depends on what I need to do for food prep and that type of thing. So details are to be determined. But if you're interested in carpooling with me and or Randy, we're going to be headed that way and then coming back. So please join us if you're into a road trip and a really fun adventure with our volunteers there at the Winnemucca office. Any questions about our meeting next week? Okay.
Sharie,
Yep.
this is Randy. Are we going to be able to look at their trailer while we're out there to see about the health supplies they have?
Yep.
Awesome.
And we'll work that into the schedule. That's part of the to be determined. Randy, is there a time that you cannot leave before?
Nope, my day is going to be spent with you.
Woo-hoo! All right, awesome. So I will be sending out more details as far as what time we're going to meet and leave from the office. But if you're interested in going, please join the fun. Love to have you there. So that, and Randy brought it up, we are going to be stopping by our trailer while we are out there as well, and checking it out. So if you've ever been curious on what we have in a shelter trailer, what it looks like, how it's organized, there's a great opportunity for a road trip, a shelter trailer inspection, and some socializing fun. So we hope to see you there. Please RSVP via this link if you do want to attend, and bring a side dish or dessert to share with everyone. On the 30th, which is a week from Thanksgiving, I believe, actually, is that? Yep, the 30th. It's a week from Thanksgiving. We're doing a Sun Valley outreach with Truckee Meadows Fire. We need as many volunteers as we can round up for this little outreach. Everyone is welcome and no training is required. Disaster Cycle Services team members and really any volunteers from any line of service are going to go out and we're going to hang door hangers with the Truckee Meadows Fire Department team. I'm going to propose that we do the Sun Mesa Park area of Sun Valley, but I still need to confirm that with Truckee Meadows Fire that they agree that that's a good area. But I'm pretty sure that's going to work out nicely. So if you are interested, please let me know. I'm going to send out a survey tomorrow with this agenda and that will be embedded in the email as well, asking for as many participants as possible. It's going to be a really fun time for us to get together with our Truckee Meadows partners and really make a positive and visual impact out there in Sun Valley, where we're trying to focus as a Duke community. Does anyone have any questions about that opportunity? Okay. On December 2nd, we are going to be participating in the Sparks Hometown Christmas Parade like we did last year. It was a ton of fun. I do not have all of the details because they have not emailed them to me yet, but I should get them later today or tomorrow, they said, with the staging areas and all of the times that we need to be there. The parade starts at 1 p.m., so I'm guessing we'll need to be at the staging area around 11 a.m., which means we'd probably meet at the office and leave from the office around 10:30 a.m. We have space for up to three vehicles, so we'll definitely be bringing the ERV and probably the caravan if it's out of the shop, or one of our other vehicles, maybe the Ford truck. I'm not sure. But it's nice to have two vehicles because then we have a vehicle to bring volunteers back at the end of the parade to the start and where their vehicles are parked. So everyone is welcome, including family. So please attend if you can and bring everyone you would like to. We're going to be handing out the Pockies like we did at the Nevada Day State Parade. Yeah, the Nevada State Day Parade. And they have little recruitment cards on them. So hopefully we will recruit more volunteers who attend the parade and see our little treats and enjoy them. Does anyone have any questions about the Sparks Hometown Christmas Parade that's coming up? Okay. I do not know the details, but please mark your calendars. On January 11th, we're going to have a Volunteer Services New Year's party. I believe it's going to be a brunch around 11 a.m. So tentatively mark your calendars for January 11th to have a New Year's party at the Reno office that is hosted by our volunteer services team, and more details will come. I mentioned this last time, and I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but basically, if there's any event, community event, that you think our volunteers would like to participate in and support at, please let us know so we can add it to the calendar, and or share it at this meeting for people to go to. So I've included Jean Held's email address and my email address, and we basically need the details that are listed here if you would like something added to our calendar for everyone to see and to talk about. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. Here's some team members that were needed. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but basically we're looking for someone who would like to do outreach to our faith-based partners that might be able to support with sheltering, with a facility to use for a family assistance center or multi-agency resource center, and to do recruitment, and also to offer our preparedness presentations to their congregations for all the different ages of the presentations we have. So basically we have something to offer regarding disaster preparedness for anyone who's 5 years old and up. So if you're interested in doing any of that type of outreach, please let me know. It's something we desperately need in order to start working on those shelter site assessments and finding those other locations that may work as a potential support location to support those impacted by disaster. Any questions about that opportunity or the need that we have there? Okay. The deployment opportunities are shrinking. Right now, the only opportunities are in Maui for disaster mental health and disaster health services. So if any of you disaster mental health workers or disaster health services workers are interested in going to Maui to support those who were impacted by that fire, there are still opportunities for you. For everyone else, it's time to enjoy the holiday. We're not asking you to go anywhere because thankfully responders are not needed right now to support any other national big disasters. At our last line of service meeting on Thursday, which is a meeting that I attend along with a lot of other volunteers and staff members who want to meet with other lines of service to talk about what our different activities are, how we can collaborate together. Tiandra, who's our executive director, she hosts the meeting and runs the meeting. And I give a brief out basically of everything we're up to in disaster cycle services and invite other lines of service to participate with us. And it also is an opportunity for me to ask for board support. So Tiandra, I can ask her, I can say, hey, these are the things in disaster cycle services that we're really looking for the board to support us on in different ways. So I made 2 asks at this last meeting. One was for support to get supplies for our Go Kits to use at schools and events, especially in our communities where there's economic barriers that prevent people from purchasing those items we recommend. Specifically, the schools in Fallon, which is one of our due communities, they've requested that we try and accommodate their students when we present in the future our disaster preparedness presentations, because we don't want kids to feel left out. We want them to feel safer and more empowered by what they learn. And some of them, because they're not able to take the recommended advice and put action to it, feel a little left out. So I've asked for the board support. I've also asked for the region support with that. And Ashley's working on it at the regional level with our development team at the regional level. So I'm really hoping that that's something that comes together. The other thing that I asked for support was for our disaster cycle services winter holiday party, which is scheduled December 12th at our Reno chapter office. It will be at 5 p.m. following this meeting, and it will be potluck style. I asked for them to attend and possibly invite other lines of service to the meeting, as well as spread the word and maybe offer some financial support. So if there are any things that you think would be useful to ask our board for support for, please let me know so I can reach out to them and make the ask. Does that make sense to anyone? And does anyone have any questions about how our board supports or how those asks work? Okay. Well, as I talked to you guys about, we have a couple of those upcoming meetings next week at the Winnemucca office, and then December 12th at the Reno chapter office. Both are going to be celebrations, potluck celebrations, time to get together and break bread with our fellow volunteers and socialize a little bit. Does anyone have anything to add before we close out for the day? Did I forget anything?
Sharie, I'll say something really quick. You still have 2 days to drop off some food at Suite 105 next to the chapter office. They're collecting food for Thanksgiving.
Oh, cool. So they extended it. They're still collecting?
Well, that's what I wrote down. Yeah.
Okay.
At least till Wednesday.
Okay. Well, good to know. So yeah, if you guys are neighbors in Suite 105, thank you, Jean Held. They have been collecting food in partnership with the Northern Nevada Food Bank to support those who need a Thanksgiving meal. So please donate if you're able to and you're in the area of our office. Thank you, Jean. And anyone else to add anything? Anything else happening? Okay, well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I want to tell you thank you very much for being a Red Cross volunteer and making a difference in your community and beyond by serving the Red Cross mission and by supporting me as a disaster program manager. I'm really grateful for all of your help in bringing some of the crazy ideas I have to fruition. Really could not do any of it without you. So thank you all so much. Have a beautiful, safe holiday with your family, friends, and significant others.
Same to you.
Thank you. Take care.